18, Warrington Wolves 14, and yes, the favourites were there, the pyrotechnics were going off. It was a great occasion at the Be The Roar Stadium. Yes, okay, the LSV, but I like to call it the Be The Roar Stadium. Fantastic to meet so many friendly faces over the course of the visit to the Leopards. Look, at the end of the day, this was a big win, wasn't it, for the Leigh Leopards? A week where Tom Amone signs for Hull KR. They needed something to cheer them up, didn't they? And this was the perfect gin and tonic for them, no doubt about that whatsoever. It was a cagey affair, wasn't it? The first 20 minutes or so, Warrington showing due respect to the Leopards when, of course, Josh Fewley's got the penalty. They slotted that over for 2 points. And then, of course, it became the disallowed try fest. Let's get into all three of them. Now, look, you know me, I call it straight, and I'm not going to change my mind. The David Armstrong, beautiful run. Got to give Armstrong his due. Lovely run. But for me personally, I'm sorry, and we've gone over this on Final Whistle. We went over this on we've done final whistle. We did round unpacks, of course, as well for the members. For me personally, it was perfectly right that one was chalked off. I mean, look, you just got to look at the footage. The man is not square on. If he's square on, if he's like I am to you now, it's a try. But he wasn't. He was side on. There's a collision. He's not even looking at the lead runner. For me personally, that is obstruction. That is interference, and that is rightly to be chalked off. I felt very sorry for Lachlan Lamb, if I'm being perfectly honest. I mean, Gareth O'Brien, he's got to be better there. When that ball gets kicked through, he knows he's offside. Instead of moving towards the ball, he's got to move away from the ball. And then, of course, he would maybe be classed as passive. Certainly, I think if he doesn't come into contact recovery, that's been given as a try. I thought Gareth there has got to show a bit more game smarts, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think he's got to be better than that. But I was really, I was sorry for Lamb. I thought Lamb in that first half especially was incredible. Who'd have thought, that Lachlan Lamb would have come to the table at Easter? Incredible stuff. Pass round the mint sauce. Outstanding stuff indeed from him. Really, really good performance from Lachlan Lamb in this game. And he deserved the try, if I'm being perfectly honest, which, of course, never came. But that said, what a first try. What a first try from him. In fact, before we get to that, let's go back to the Musgrove one. I'm sorry to say this. You might be, it's biased, this. No, it ain't biased. It is what it is. I genuinely mean what I say about the Leigh Leopards tries. And Musgrove got the ball down, and he did. Chalked off. It's in the history book. Leigh won. That's the way it is. But I'm calling it straight. That ball was on the line. So if it's not obstruction, if it's not offside, it's a try. For whatever reason, it went up as a no try. No camera angles to prove it was a try. It's not a try. But I believe there are some pictures floating about social media that clearly show it from our vantage point. We saw that it hit the ground. So we were a bit perplexed as to why it went up as no try. And then, of course, when there was no obstruction, no offside, even more so. But that's live. That's one of those things. But like I say, let's go back to the first try for the Leigh Leopards. It was absolutely glorious, wasn't it? If you watched In the Sheds for the Leeds Rhinos, I was basking gloriously over James McDonald's superb offload for Jake Connor. And let's be fair, Lachlan Lamb's to Edwin Pape was of the very, very same stature. It was incredible, wasn't it? What a lovely run in the first instance from Lachlan Lamb. And then the ball. Oh, yes. Absolutely sensational. And Warrington really needed to come out in the second half and probably score first. And Sam Burgess looked filthy in the post-match press conference. I think he's coming under a bit of pressure now, isn't he? He's Sam. And, he wanted a better start to the second half and it didn't come, on 44 minutes. He must be saying, oh, no. Leigh Leopards were going, O'Neill. Oh, what a player, Ethan O'Neill. What a signing this boy has been for the Leigh Leopards. An incredible, sorry, I'm just running out of juice here. I need to get that sorted out. But yeah, no, what a player. What a player Ethan O'Neill is. I mean, I'm so impressed with this lad. We saw him at close quarters in the testimonial for Toby King at the start of the season, and I was very impressed there. He is a great pickup from Lachlan Lamb and Chris Chester. I have to say, their recruitment is incredible. And if Joffa, the big unit that's coming in from the Parramatta Eels, if he also hits the ground running, fantastic. We expected even more signings, aren't there, between now and mid-season at the Leigh Leopards. But yeah, what a signing Ethan O'Neill has been. And with him and Frankie Holton on the other side, Holton's try looked far too easy, let's be honest about that. Lovely short ball, though, from O'Brien, making up maybe for that indiscretion in the first half. But, these two second rowers, both on the score sheet and both in incredible form. Really, really good players, these two. In terms of Frankie, he might not be revered as much as perhaps, like you say, the juniors in Sembers who get the headlines. But let me tell you now, he lets his rugby do the talking, does Frankie Holton. I mean, there's just no doubt in that whatsoever. This guy, for me, is the real deal. Rumour has it as well, Warrington had taken a look at him. Now, I don't know what his contract situation is at the Leigh Leopards, but there you go. That's what's on the wind. I mean, in terms of Warrington, I think the only thing that they can take out of this game really is the tries that they scored were nice tries. I thought the grubber kick from Steve for King was very well executed. And of course, Warrington's break for the Matty Ashton try was typical Warrington. I think even there was a lot of Leigh Leopards fans at full time who believed that if the game went on an extra 5, maybe 10 minutes, Warrington might have just wrestled this one away. I think they were happy to hear the final hooter. Warrington really do need to get the ball quicker to the edges. The amount of time there was overlaps or space on the right and the left, and they just weren't playing it as a side. And I think that's another thing that I'm seeing at Warrington at the moment. Maybe too many players trying to do it on their own. Just play the numbers, play simple rugby league, and perhaps they'd be scoring more tries. I mean, the possession was pretty much 50-50. Completed sets 30-27 in Warrington Wolves' favour. They played the balls in the 20, very, very similar as well. The meters made, you know, you look at the stats on this, it was as close as the score. I don't think either side really at this moment in time are in a position where they're going to win Super League, but let's be fair, they're both in a position where they could win the Challenge Cup. And at this moment in time, just based on what we're seeing, how we're playing, and of course this new signing, which is going to be very interesting for the Leigh Leopards, perhaps having the advantage now with this win going into that semi-final in a couple of weeks' time, who knows. But like I say, Duffy, 268 metres from 24 carries. I thought he was average, though. I mean, his stats were great, but I have to say, Matt Duffy's got to be passing the ball better than he currently is. I think that's a big problem. Toby King will be pleased, of course. Let's take nothing away from Toby King. This lad's been out for quite a few weeks. He comes back, 16 carries, 144 metres, 4 tackle busts in the game, 3 offloads. We know that's his game. And he took his try well. So I think Toby King's a bonus for Warrington. I think they need him just to shore up those 3-quarter lines. And I thought he played particularly well, I have to say. I thought when Fitzgibbon weren't refereeing, he had a decent game for the Warrington Wolves. We know he packs a punch down the middle, and Paul Vaughan got over 100 metres as well with a problem with his hand. So, you know, like I say, you know, a few bits and pieces in there for Warrington. It weren't all doom and gloom, but they've got to be better. They've got to be a lot better, and it's going to be interesting to see how they go against Saints on Thursday night. As for the Leigh Leopards, well, you know, you be the Roarers out there. You're delighted. Let's be fair. I mean, you had to do a lot of chopping and changing. Warrington didn't stand up. You had to at fullback, of course. Armstrong going off at half time. I still think Bailey Hodgson, what a player this kid's been. You know, very versatile. You know, outstanding player. No doubt about that whatsoever. We said, I think last week on our team of the week, waffling versatile. Well, I'll tell you what, Hodgson's versatile, isn't he? He's an incredible asset for the Leigh Leopards, without doubt whatsoever. Good to see Josh Charnley back. Charnley not getting over 100 metres, perhaps he's first, just feeling his way back in for the Leigh Leopards, but good to see Josh Charnley back for the Leopards. Trout again, I thought he was decent. Mulhern doing what Mulhern does in the game. But let's get into the 3-2-1. Who am I giving the 1.2? I'm going to give the 1.2. I'm going to have to give it to Ethan O'Neill. I think Ethan O'Neill, it wasn't just his try, it's his defensive work. 31 tackles, didn't miss one. 31 tackles, didn't miss one, and gets a try. Let's be fair, took some scoring. It really, really did. An outstanding effort that from Ethan O'Neill. So he gets my 1 point, and I hope you agree with that. The 2 points I'm going to give to Isaac Liu. Isaac Liu, for me, real Rolls Royce of a player. 33 tackles, only missed the 119 metres from 17 carries in this game. I thought he was good value. You're not missing Asiata as much as perhaps you thought you were going to, you Leigh Leopards fans out there. Of course, Asiata played some sparkling rugby league, all I've seen. Do you know what? He's a hard man to replace. And if he was still at Leigh, I'm sure he would still be pulling up trees. But at this moment in time, you know, Isaac Liu, he might not be pulling up the trees at the moment as well as Asiata, but he certainly is pulling up the flower beds, the bushes, and the daffodils. He's outstanding, absolutely outstanding, and deserving of 2 points. And the 3 points I'm going to give to the man that actually quite apt on Easter Sunday or Easter weekend with his name, Lachlan Lamb. What a performance! I mean, you know, Lachlan Lamb at times he floats in and out of games. His consistency for me is something that perhaps lets him down at times, but when he's on, isn't he? I mean, you know, let's be fair. If he was your kettle, when he's playing like this, you know, your brew would be boiled in 30 seconds. He's absolutely outstanding. Get your tea bags ready is what I say. 2 brilliant. I mean, the first one especially, assist. The first one to Edwin Papa. That's quality rugby league. That's why you pay your money. That's why you go through the turnstiles. That's why this is the greatest game on earth. You know, that, yeah, you can have the silky runs down the side, Warrington. Of course you can. But equally, you've got to admire passes of that class and style. And it was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Of course, another good one as well to Ethan O'Neill in the second half. This was a good performance from Lachlan Lamb. A completely deserved 3 points from him. We send him our congratulations. Cracking win this for the Leigh Leopards, who sit very firmly in the top six, playing fantastically well and still got gaps to plug in the side over the course of the next few weeks. I think things are looking quite rosy for Leigh. Will they be in the playoffs? I think they absolutely will. Will they be at the Challenge Cup final? I think the favourite at the moment. As for the Warrington Wolves, there's a lot of head scratching going on. 9th in Super League, the wire. That ain't good enough. And Sam knows it. That's it. That's in the sheds. 18-14 to the Leigh Leopards. Bye for now.